Hello, in this video I want to show you how you can create dreadlocks in Blender. Yeah, so sorry, let me go back to object mode. Yeah, so to get started I'm going to be using this mode that I created a while back, and what I've done here, I've created a curve for the air, like just a mesh all around the air, so I can create the dreads on top. And yeah, that's it. So to get started, I would go to the particles properties here and click on plus to add a new particle and change it from emitter to air. Yeah, that's adding the air particle. So there's one thing I usually like doing when working with air. I want to be able to see the thickness of my air in my viewport. So to do that, I'll go to render properties, and if you are using Eevee, you see this curve option here in the render properties here. So you can change from strand to strip. If you're actually in cycles, you might not actually see the curve option. Yeah, exactly. So you might not see the curve option in cycles. So yeah, I'm actually going to change the cycles because that's what I'm using for the rendering. That's for the air materials and rendering. It actually look better with cycles. So now that that's done, I'll come back to my particle edit mode, scroll down to where I have air shape, and this diameter scale, I'll reduce it to 0.02. And so for this particular hairstyle, I want the thickness to be uniform all through the length of the hair. So I would increase the tip to 1. Yeah, so the root diameter and the tip diameter are entirely the same thing. And I'll uncheck this close tip. Yeah, so now looking at the length of the hair, it's actually way too long. So I'll scroll back up to this emission property and reduce the length from 4 to 0.1. Let me see how this is. Yeah, I think I would use this, but let me increase this a bit. 0.12. Yeah, so I'll do something like this for the length. And next thing I want to do is to reduce this number down to 0, and you notice I don't have any air again. This is because I usually like adding my air strands manually. So since we already have a particle system for this particular mesh, we can go to the particle edit properties, and I would use this add brush. Make sure this count is set to 1. By default I think it's 10, so I'll just set it to 1, and just I can click to add in strands of air. So let me just add this with the comb brush. Now if you notice, as I added one, it's actually added in the both place. This is because I have a mirror, X mirror turned on. Yeah, from this toolbar you can see this X mirror is turned on here rather. And one thing I want to do, I also want to make sure children is turned on, because when I later add the children particles, I want to be able to see it in my particle system, in my particle edit mode. Yeah, alright, so let's proceed. Now I'll go back to object mode, and yeah, so just to create that dread look, I'll be using this the simple children particle option here. That's under children. You'll see simple. Yeah, so currently you can just see the air is going all around. That's because the radius is actually too large, so I'll just click on this radius and reduce it to, see, I see that the thickness is actually alright with what I want. So something like this is okay, and I will increase this viewport display from 10 to 100. Yeah, I think something like this seems pretty alright. Now one more thing I want to do, I want to come to this render option, check this spline option and increase the step to 7, and also for the viewport I would increase the step to 7, just to like get those smooth shape, and I will further explain why later on. So for these children now, under these children you will see this clumping option. So I'll use clump curve and give it this kind of rounded profile at the tip here. So if you drag this down, you notice as this, you notice the air shape is following like the shape of this curve you are seeing here. So I want to give it like a rounded curve. So now to add a point, you just have to click on any on this curve and drag your mouse and you get this kind of curve shape. Something like this is what I'm going for. So now to give you those kind of rough dreadlock look, it's from the roughness here. I'll reduce this uniform size to 0.01 and increase the uniform. So I'll hold down shift while increasing it, so just add a minor increment, because this is actually very strong. If I increase this to, let's say, not that, if I increase this to 1, it actually goes all over. So I just need to use like 0.06 seem alright. So now let me show you something. If this viewport display, if this step was still 2, you can see that I can barely see the influence of that uniform roughness. So I'll change it back to 7. The higher it is, the more details you can add. If this was higher than 7, let's say 15, yeah, you notice actually way more details, but it would make rendering way more slower. So I think 7 is okay. Yeah, we can proceed. So next thing I want to do is to go back to the particle edit mode, and with the comb brush I would, let me do this from side view. Now I make sure this deflect emitter is turned off, because if it's turned on, you might have might be kind of difficult combing the air into shape. Yeah, you notice deflecting. Now there's one thing I noticed from this view: the air looks flat for me. That's because these children under these children properties, this roundness I would increase it to 1, so it will not reflect immediately from here. So what can I do, just uncheck this and check it back. Now you can see that it's now like a round profile all around it. Yeah, so grooming the air, I'll make sure this deflect emitter is turned on. So it's all due to your preferences though. I usually prefer turning it off so I could comb it to be close to the scene, but you have to be careful while this is turned off so you don't push the air into the mesh too much. So yeah, something like this. Now with the add brush again. So before I add in let me comb this more. So before I add in a new strand, I would first hide this current one. So A to select everything and H to hide. Yeah, so literally let me just show you exactly what happened here. So yes, all these strands here, if I hide them, the children will still appear, but I can't actually influence this by combing on it or anything. So yes, with the add brush again, I'll click to add in a new strand right here, and now you notice this new strand take like the same shape of this, just because this interpolate option is turned on. For example, now if it's turned off and I click to add in a new strand, just add in the strand coming straight out of the air. So I usually prefer it turned on, so I will not have to start combing it into shape again. So click here to add in the strand, select the comb brush, comb it into shape from the side view, something like this. Yeah, so add brush. Okay, I'll first select hide everything, add, and comb brush, comb it into shape. From the side view, push this out of the bit. Yeah, I think I would add one more here. So I will just speed this up. So after I've filled up the air with this cap rather with air. So yeah, see you in a few minutes. Alright, so now that I'm done adding the dreads, if you look quick, you'll notice there are some empty spaces here. So one thing I like doing is to add in another air particle system. So I'll come back to my particle system and click on plus to add a new particle system, change it to air, and for this I'll use like 0.04. Let me see how that is. And yeah, let me turn this off first so I could see. Sorry, that's the first one. I'll turn it off so I could see. Yeah, so something like this, but yeah, for the air shape I'll reduce this down to 0.02. Yeah, so same thing I did for the so yeah, I'll leave this as 1000. I'll still reduce this size a bit. That's 0.015 should be okay. And I'll leave the viewport display as, let me just increase this to 3 and set the children particles to interpolated. Yeah, because I just want something to cover up the empty space in the scalp. So yeah, under this roughness I think yeah, let me reduce this size to 0.1 and increase the uniform so it's kind of, yeah, everywhere. So this is what I'm looking for. So for this air particle, I'm going to use 2 different particle systems. So let me come to my particles property and click on plus to add one particle system and plus to add another. So the first one, I'll create a new material and call this dreads, because for the dreads I want to have two different colors, and also for the lower part I'll create this and just create lower underscore air. Yeah, so this is my two particle system. So now we to particle material. So I think the air is still quite scanty, so I'll just make this 20 and also set the render option to 20. So let me turn this dread on, and yeah, those empty spaces are filled up already with the other particle system. So now with this second particle system selected, I can name this lower underscore air, and also from here let me name this lower underscore air, and for the dreads I will select the dreads. So to rename it, you can just hold down control and click on it, and then just call this dreads. Yeah, so for the dreads I'll come to this render option and set the material. Yeah, the material is set to dreads. So for the lower air I'll change this from dreads to lower air. Yeah, so they'll use two different material preview. So firstly I'm going to save this so I won't lose the progress, rather. Now for the material, I'll split this screen right here and change this to that's shader editor. So down here, let's see which material we are working on. Let's work on the lower air first. So for the lower air, let me first change the viewport color to black. Yeah, that's black beneath the particle. So in order to start the material, I'll just change it to render view so I could see the shading and all. But it's kind of slow. I set to GPU. So yeah, I'll turn on my render panel here because I've added lights and some other stuff so I could see better. Yeah, so for the lower air, I'll just delete this principal shader first and add in a principal air PSDF. Yeah, so this is what I'll use for the lower air. That's the ones below this. So I'll change this. Okay, let me, instead of using direct coloring, I usually prefer using melanin concentration, except when I'm working on let's say something like more complex. But if it's just for a basic color, I prefer using melanin concentration. So this value actually affects, let me show you. Let me turn the dreads off. So yeah, currently it's close to 1, the air is black. If it's down to 0, the air will be white. If it's in between, they'll be having this kind of blonde feel, and up. Yeah, so I would increase this all the way to 0.98. Yeah, something like this, because I want something pretty close to black. Let me press 0 to go to my camera view and turn this off so I could see it more clearer. So now I'll turn on the dreads. Yeah, so now that's all for the lower air material. So now I'll come back to my material panel and select the dreads material. So select the principled and delete it. So for the dreads, I'll use a principled air PSDF, and yeah, for this I'll use the direct coloring. So I'll make this black. So I want to use like a gradient for the dreads. So I'll duplicate this and make this kind of, let me see, like a gold color, bright gold color. Let me see how this is, just this alone. So I'll just this alone. So I'm going to be using a mix shader for this. That's mix shader. Connect the principled air to this, and this to this, and this to the surface. Yeah, so now what I want to do, I want to get a gradient like I said earlier. So I need something that will drive the factor of the gradient. So to do that, I will add in a, so I've actually forgotten the so I'll just search. I'll search for curve info node. Yeah, so if you're using older versions of Blender, let's like 2.99 or so, this would actually be the particle info. So what I actually need is this intercept option. In order to be able to control it better, I will use a color ramp, plug it here, and plug this intercept to the color ramp. So if I just plug this color ramp, if I plug this color directly to the surface, you will see what we're having. We're having like a gradient here. So we can control where the black color starts from. to where the white colors are from. Yeah, something like that. So we are going to be using this gradient to control the colors of the hair. So I'll just plug this instead of the surface. I'll plug to the mix, to the factor of the mix shader, plug the mix shader back to this. Yeah, to kind of have like this gradient going all through. So I think I'll make this using pure black here. So I'll make this pure black. So one thing I usually like doing with my hair, I like having everything quite stylized. So I'll reduce this roughness to have a bit of reflectiveness on hair, something like this too. And I'll do the same thing for the gold color. So currently I'm deliberating on if I should use a gold color or more like a red. Let me see how it would be. Yeah, so I think I kind of prefer something like this for the red. It's kind of looking wild. Yeah, so basically that's how you create dreads in Blender, and I'll also show you how to set up quite simple gradients and hair texture. So you can also use this hair texture for any other for texturing any other hairstyle. It could just be a simple hairstyle with scenes at the top and the bottom part with different colors. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.